Welcome back. This is our first episode of Biz Money Talks with Tracey Bissett in 2022. I am very excited. We've got a really special guest today, Ana Patricia Bourgeois. Welcome to the show, Ana.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we are delighted that you are here, and you are a certified business coach whose mission is to help ambitious women gain clarity and confidence in their purpose so they can grow their online service-based businesses from a place of alignment and passion. And I know that we're going to have a great chat today. So I'd love if you can share a little bit about your background and your experience and what a day in your life looks like.
Yeah, sure. So, do you want me to start from the beginning or like
The
because
Coles
it's
Notes version.
yeah. So, I pretty much all my life grew up knowing that I wanted more from my life because I saw my mom growing up very struggling with her 9 to 5 and it was always like this struggle life. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna find a way to really create a life of freedom for myself, a life that I love, a life of purpose, a life of impact. Like I want to help people. I didn't really know how that was gonna look like, but when I graduated college, I did this interview, no, sorry, this internship, and I learned everything from social media marketing, um, client work, copywriting, photo, video, like everything. And that's when I started my first business, which was a social media marketing agency.
Mhm.
So I had a few clients and I love being my own boss. I love helping my clients mostly. Like I love the deeper one-on-one conversations and seeing the results that they've gotten and helping them answer any questions. And I asked myself like how can I help people on a deeper level? A work that's more meaningful than just growing a social media page. And one day I was on Google and I found this like coaching school and I'm like, ooh, this looks interesting. I have never heard of coaching before. I was like, what is this all about? And when I go on there, it like really resonated with me, the message from it. And it was a huge investment, but I said, you know what? If I don't do this, like I'm going to regret it. So I went for it. I got certified in 2019. And since then, I've really like switched niches a few times. I've tried a few different things, but I realized that, social media is my jam. Like I know it like the back of my hand. So I said, I'm going to declare I'm a business coach. I help women grow their online presence so they can get more clients in their businesses. And it's just been incredible. Like I get chills when I think about it because I've helped clients leave their job, go full time, sign their first or next few clients. Like it can happen really quickly with the right support for sure.
Excellent. And the reason why you're joining us today, number one, because you're amazing. We happened
Thank
to
you.
meet last summer, and I was a guest on your podcast, which is excellent, which is the Powerful Female Leaders podcast. And we had a great time. But here on Biz Money Talks, we're trying to bring forward actionable tips that will help people succeed in their business. And to do that, you've got to be visible. You've got to have a powerful personal brand, and people need to know who you are before they can want to buy from you. And so to hit those sales and actually become a profitable business and maintain profits, what you do really helps people
Mhm.
come out of their shell, really get that branding on point. And so it's all very relevant. And especially so many
Mhm.
people, I know we're making New Year's resolutions around how
Yeah.
can I show up more powerfully and make the biggest impact with my business. So it's so timely that you're here with us. Now, you recently released a podcast on the Powerful Female Leaders podcast, one episode sharing your top 5 lessons from 2021. And I know so many people are thinking about the year that was. Some people are really glad that it's over. Some people are trying to leverage what went well and do even more well in 2022 and really implement their learnings. Would love for you to share with us what your top 5 were.
Yes, like I love to reflect back and like anchor in what I've learned and how much I've grown. So I decided like for the first podcast of the season, it was going to be like my top 5 lessons. And the first one is truly like listening and taking action from my intuition because I feel like when we get into this online space, like we just want to like get all the information, like buy like the next course, the next program, like go on YouTube, read that book, do this, do that, and we forget to actually listen to what we want and listen to our desires and that gut feeling. So I realized that when I just took some time to listen to it and actually took action from that place, my results were like 10 times better than just like forcing myself to follow a blueprint or follow
Mhm.
tips and advice that I like read online. It's like a huge difference.
It's almost like slowing down to make the impact
Yeah.
you want.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm always like this go, 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 get it,
Mhm.
ambitious person. So slowing down and listening to that voice, it made all the difference for me. The other lesson is like not fearing failing, but looking at it as a learning or teaching moment, right? Because we're never actually failing, we're just learning and growing and becoming better at what we do. So it's like not fearing that and just looking forward to actually doing the thing, right? Because it means you're actually taking action. And that's what matters when we're building something meaningful online, is to take those small steps every single
Mhm.
day and to try something new. And if it doesn't work out, it's to pivot and try something else. So looking at it as a learning, teaching opportunity for yourself.
Excellent.
And the other lesson is um like being conscious, like conscious decision making. Basically it's like when you are deciding to invest or when you are deciding to do something, are you doing it from a place of lack or and scarcity, or are you doing from a place of I desire this and I want to be expanded and I want to stretch myself? Because those two energy are completely different. And when you
Mhm.
approach it with that energy of desire, it's going to change your experience like 360. It's not going to be the same. So it's really like being conscious of where you take decision and what's the energy behind it. That's super important. And lastly, I would say it's like to live in the now and enjoy the small moments. Like we worry so much about the future and what will happen in the future, but we're not there yet. Like we're in this moment right now. There's no need to stress as long as you trust that you can figure it out, that you trust that you're going to be okay. Like you can take a deep breath and you can relax for a second. So
Excellent.
yeah.
So listening to your intuition, so slowing down to get
Mhm.
those bigger actions. Um, Thinking of the failures as really a learning, so kind of pivoting what that looks like. And I think when we think about money too, because you talked about those small imperfect actions, when we're dealing with the
Mhm.
financial side of our business, we need to think that way too. The conscious, really intentional decision making, which again can tie into how we're monitoring that performance, but what we're driving for in our business, and then really enjoying the moment. So we do need to have plans and we need to be thinking about the future. But if we live all of our lives in the future about what we want to happen, then we're really missing out on what's right in front of us. So I think if
Exactly.
anybody who's checking us out now or in the replay puts into practice even one of those, it's going to put them in really good stead as they move forward in 2022, which is amazing.
Yes.
Now, most business owners are so focused on serving their clients, they're busy problem solving, that they often don't really think about their mindset and whether it's in a positive place and how to keep it positive. There's certainly a lot more coverage of this out there now, and there's certainly a lot of resources now dedicated to mental health of business owners. But from your experience, what are some common habits or mindsets of business owners that could get in the way of them being really positive and then getting the right outcomes for their clients, which is what it's all about?
I love this question. So there's four things that I came up with. The first one is like perfectionism. Like this is something that comes back again and again and again. It's like wanting to like get everything perfect, everything in order, have the contracts, the programs, like everything set up and ready to go. But it actually works the other way around. Like you get really good at something by actually taking imperfect action first,
Hmm.
doing the thing, and then perfecting the way you do it. So this is the first one. The second one that I see a lot coming up too is like imposter syndrome. Like you don't feel like you're good enough. You don't feel like what you do is enough. And there's always like this little voice in your head. And when you actually slow down, like we talked about, and
Hmm.
realize that where you're at right now is amazing. Who you are right now in this moment is amazing. I guarantee you there's stuff that you know that other people don't necessarily have lots of knowledge about. Like there's for sure at least one thing that you're really, really good at. And it's time to own that. Like when you own that part of yourself, it's going to be like night and day for sure. The other thing is people pleasing. That's like a huge one. Yeah. Wanting to be liked by everyone, like wanting to serve everyone, but actually like truly speaking your voice unapologetically is like the best way to go, because people will judge you and criticize you anyways. So
no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what you do. So you rather like just speak your voice and share that message and say what you got to say. And lastly, it's like comparison. Like a lot of like, it's easy to look at other successful people in this space and feel discouraged by your own progress. So it's like remembering like we're all on different journeys. And as long as you keep going and you don't give up, you're going to get there eventually.
Great. So just to recap, perfectionism gets in the way, imposter syndrome, so not giving ourselves enough credit for what we're actually doing right, people pleasing, and then that dreaded comparison, which with social media is so easy to do. And I can tell you, and I've probably relayed this on Biz Money Talks before, I have the benefit of seeing behind the curtain. And so I can see the partial story that's out there on social media, especially when people are hyping sales. And maybe they're not talking about the fact that they're actually not profitable, but just don't buy into everything that you see. Make sure that you know the whole story. And it's actually just better to mind your own business and focus on yourself and your progress last week to this week and year over year versus getting fixated on what everybody else is doing. So love those tips, because if we put them into practice, we're going to be able to maintain our positive mindset and then make the biggest impact on our clients, which is the point. When we can stay really focused. Super. Now, what success tips or strategies do you have for those who are catching the interview and they want to work on their personal branding and actually get a little bit more visible? It's something they're a little bit nervous about as they want to do that in the new year. How can they do that with kind of some easy to steps that allow them to do it in a way that doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm everywhere immediately?
I love that. I love that question. So I think the biggest tip is like understanding that your vulnerability is your strength. Like sharing your story, getting deep, being imperfect, stumbling upon your words, getting messy over and over and over again. That's actually how you create awareness and skyrocket your visibility, because people are tired of the superficial thing, of the perfectly looking grid. Like they want to see the real, they want to see the raw, they want to see the imperfect. Like people want to connect with true leaders who aren't scared to share the bad and the ugly, because it's inevitable. Everyone goes through things that are not always fun and beautiful and sunshine and rainbows. So keeping it real and sharing your story. And I remember the first time I shared my story on a live stream, I got so emotional, like I cried a little and it just blew up. I was like, what's going on? Like people are like, wow, like Anna is so brave. She's so courageous. She's sharing her story. She's letting like herself be truly seen. She's vulnerable. And it just exploded like from there. And I also like cried like in a masterclass last year. And my clients were like, oh my gosh, thank you for crying. Like it gives me the permission to also have those emotions and that it's okay. And it was just like this huge realization that like, that's what people want. That's what people want to see. They don't want to see the perfect. They don't only want to see the flashy results and the flashy lifestyle. They want to see like what's truly going on with you and what's truly on your heart.
However, I would imagine that because you've just mentioned two instances, you're not showing up every week crying.
No.
And having like drama and everything's crazy and you're a hot mess. It's very purposefully when you were sharing certain things that happened to come out because you were being so vulnerable and genuine. But it's not about showing up kind of messy all the time. I don't imagine.
No. Exactly. It's more like being truthful with
Mhm.
what you're sharing. And if emotions come up, let it be. Like just surrender, release it. It's okay. Like people are not going to judge you for that. They'd rather see that than see you trying to hold back the tears or hold back the emotions. Like we're all human. That's the point. The point of all of this is we're all human. It happens and people will appreciate you for that. So how can you share your story or how can you go deeper today with your audience or what's one thing you haven't shared yet because you're afraid of what people might say? That's what I would say to go and do now, because when you lead yourself first through things that are not easy to do, you actually empower others to build that courage and go after their dreams and share their story and create that ripple effect.
Absolutely, I love it. And sometimes it's about funny things that happen to you. Sometimes it's about the
Mhm.
mistakes you made. It's all those things so they can get to know and
Yeah.
connect with you as an individual.
Yes.
Because if they don't like who that is, then that's okay. That's helping them screen themselves out from being your potential client, and then you're really attracting the people who are in tune with you.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Excellent. All right. So you've heard Anna say, go out and do that one thing that would allow you to connect with more people
Mhm.
that makes sense for you. Now, when you work with your clients, you already touched on it a little bit, but what are the results that you're seeing as they start following your advice and some of the great tips you've already shared with us today? What are the impacts in their businesses and their lives?
Yes, I love that question. There's so many things. Like it varies. Honestly, it varies from client to client. But some typical results is like overcoming their mindset blocks that are keeping them stuck, getting clarity around their message, their offerings, their pricings, sharing their story for the first
Mhm.
time, increasing their confidence, creating a custom made strategy that feels aligned, that feels good to show up, signing their first or next client, and adding on average about 3 to 5K a month in revenue.
Woo.
Yeah, leaving their unfulfilling jobs, going full time in their business, creating an online brand that's authentic to them, and ultimately having more happiness, freedom, and fulfillment.
Excellent. Well, I love all of those things, and I love how it tied into the money because
Yeah.
we are in business to make an impact and to help people, but we first need to take care of ourselves, and we need to sell stuff and have sales and be profitable so that we can get paid, which is so key.
Mhm.
And if we can have fun while we're doing it and work with people we feel called to support, all the better, because it's
Yes,
certainly going to make it not feel as much like work when we're doing it. Now,
exactly.
before I let you go, is there any final piece of advice or tip you'd love to leave the listeners with? And it might be something you've already mentioned that you want to reiterate because it's just so key for you, or it might be something brand new you want to share with them.
Mhm. So I think the biggest thing is like to figure out what makes you unique, right? Like gone are the days where like the basic branding, where everyone looks the same, sound the same, have the same message, have the same offers. Like the market is craving uniqueness. It's craving like something new and unique. So one of my favorite things to do with my clients is to help them figure out what's that unique magic, that unique, twist that we can give to their messaging so they stand out from the market. And that's really like what's gonna like set them apart because it's like a mix of your vision, your vibe, your voice, your framework. Like we have to build something that's unique to you so you're top of mind to people. So when people see you, they're like, oh yes, Anna does that, Tracy does that. Like she's unique
Mhm.
to that niche. So really positioning yourself as that go-to expert, you're gonna start attracting people like you've never have before, and you're gonna be like, wow.
Excellent. So embrace what makes us different and
Yeah.
and really play up to our strengths so that we can make sure we're putting the right intention out there and the right attracting the right people.
Yes.
And if we can be super intentional with it, then it's all gonna work out in our favor. Now, before I let you go, what are you working on now? And for those who are interested in learning more about you, how can they do that?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at anapatricia.coach. I also have a free Facebook group called the Powerful Female Coaches and Leaders Community. I go live there every week. I give amazing value. So you can join us, ask questions, connect with the other amazing leaders in the group. And you can also send me a message here on LinkedIn if you want to connect. And what I have going on right now is I'm offering 5 spots for an intuitive business alignment sessions. And on these calls, we're going to cover really everything you're going through right now, the space in between where you are now, where you want to be, and the shift that needs to be made in your messaging or your sales, and what mindset blocks are holding you back from hitting those consistent 5K months. So on this free call, you can get immediate results because we're really uncovering what's going on, and it's a lot of like quick shifts. So if this is something that you're interested in, just send me a message here on LinkedIn or any of the other platforms.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ana. It's been a fun chat. I think that certainly by putting into practice the tips that you shared with us, we're going to be able to have stronger personal brand, be more visible, but as well be able to work on our mindset and create that positive momentum in our own business as we're managing ourselves and our emotions all the way through, which is going to lead us to attract more clients, make more money, get paid, and be able to perhaps put some of that money back out into the world, whether we're hiring people, whether we're giving our services pro bono to others, making charitable donations. And Ana is a fellow Canadian as well. So we've had a lot of Americans on lately, but fellow Canadians. So shout out for that. And we were just commiserating about the cold before we hit record. So we're staying warm inside, and I hope everybody is too, who's been checking us out. So thank you so much, Ana, for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. And so for those who want to keep the money conversation going, the Biz Money conversation going, you can join us at our weekly meetup and get registered at bizmoneyclub.com. And we are doing that Wednesdays. So it's a casual pop-in where we have chats about what's going on in our business and our money, and certainly informal, and we'd love to see you there. So thank you again, Ana. Until next time, take good care and stay financially fit.